Welcome to AG's Ace. So the test squad for the World Test Championship Series has been announced, which will be played in England, and followed that by a very tough and prestigious tour of playing 5 tests against England in England will then unfold. Let's take a look not only at the squad, which has been announced, but what are the ramifications that holds for India possibly as they go in for a very important tour. So the BCCI has announced a 20-member Indian squad for June's ICC World Test Championship final against New Zealand, which will be played in Southampton. The same squad will then face host England in the subsequent 5-match test series in August and September. Now, the biggest additions in the squad this time are that of fast bowler Mohammad Shami and all-rounder Ravi Jadeja. They've been out of test action for quite some time because of injuries. Shami last played for India in the day-night test against Australia in Adelaide, after which a broken arm forced him to return home. Ravindra Jadeja bust his thumb in the 3rd test in Sydney and also had to return home. Both players have not played test cricket for India since then, and they are back now. Of course, they featured in the IPL. Now, the notable players who are not part of the squad, which has already created quite a bit of controversy, and they've been buzzing on Twitter. So they are Hardik Pandya, opener Prithvi Shaw, seamer Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and left arm leg spinner Kuldeep Yadav. So they are the major names who are missing out. And there are reasons for it, which we will go into it later. The rest of the Indians remains pretty much the same, which beat England 3-1 in the 4-match test series at home. Now, the reserves are Abhimanyu Easwaran, Prasidh Krishna, who did a very good job in the IPL as a fast bowler. Avesh Khan, again, very notable during the IPL, and there was a buzz around him like Mohammad Siraj had created for himself. And Arzan Nagwaswala, they'll be the standby players on the tour. Shuman Gill retaining his place in the squad despite his erratic form in the recent IPL. Now that is being discussed, that why Shuman Gill and why not Prithvi Shaw, who played very well in the Vijay Hazare Trophy, which was a domestic tournament, and then in the IPL he played some very gutsy knocks. There was a buzz around him. So why has he been dropped is the question. Rohit Sharma and Gill are seemingly the first choice openers. And if one of them misfires, then Mayank Agarwal steps in. Cheteshwar Pujara is again the rock in the middle. Then Virat Kohli, the skipper, Rahane and Hanuma Vihari will be the backbone of the batting lineup. In the middle order, Rishabh Pant comes in, obviously, as the wicketkeeper and batsman. The attacking batsman that Rishabh is known for. He will be required to fire again in England, albeit in different conditions. Riddhiman Saha, the best wicketkeeper in India and one of the finest in the world, is a part of the reserves. So that has been his fate for quite some time. Possibly his batting doesn't match up to Rishabh, and whether it is fair or unfair has been discussed quite a bit. But currently, Rishabh is the flavor of the season. Then KL Rahul will also be part of the reserves, subject to their fitness clearance. Riddhi contracted coronavirus on May 4th while playing for Sunrisers Hyderabad, while Punjab Kings captain KL Rahul had an operation for acute appendicitis. So they are coming out of a bit of a low. Now, the omission of Prithvi Shaw is something I want to go into. Now, Prithvi Shaw did have a forgettable 2020 in the IPL. He struggled for form. Then he got even dropped in that season by his team, Delhi Capitals, on a couple of occasions. He was picked for the test series in Australia, and we know what happened then after his abject failure in the first test. Then subsequently, he was dropped. He had a pretty rough time. But the youngster has regained his form this season in the IPL. He has scored 308 runs in 8 matches at an average of 38 and a strike rate of 166. He also scored 350s in the tournament and was 4th in the list of orange cap contenders for the season. His attack against Shivam Mavi, hitting Mavi for 6 fours in the opening over, is pretty much talked about, and none other than Viru Sehwag has really praised him for that, because it's not just about hitting, it's about placement. Sabah Karim says, and I quote him, "If we talk about one player, Prithvi is the young Indian batsman who impressed me the most because we've seen a brilliant turnaround. The impactful knocks Prithvi has played along with Shikhar. Because of that only, Delhi Capitals are in such a strong situation." Now, he said that before the Indian team got selected. my good old friend Ajay Jadeja also made a quote, and Ajay is one of the most intuitive former players I've worked with, and some of his assessments and analysis are truly fantastic. Listen to this quote. He says, like a computer has a virus, it's like a virus has been removed from his batting. Last year, a little virus had crept in his mind or technique, whichever you want to put it, whichever way you want to put it. But when a player emerges from a shock, Shaw is an exceptional player. But even an ordinary player at any level finds it easy in his first year. But when the second year comes, if he can surpass it, he can leave everyone behind. And that is tremendous compliment coming in from Ajay Jadeja, and it's true also. Now, let's take a quick look at India's schedule. The WTC final will be played at the Rose Bowl in Southampton from June 18th. India and New Zealand qualified for the WTC final after finishing as the top two teams in the inaugural edition, which started after the World Cup in August 2019. Now, India won 12. This is important. India won 12 out of the 17 tests they played during this time period. 12 out of 17 wins, which is a fantastic record, while New Zealand registered 7 victories out of 11. Team India will also play a series of 5 tests against England in Nottingham, London, Leeds, and Manchester between August the 4th and September the 14th after the WTC gets over. So a couple of points. I believe Prithvi should have been part of the squad even as a reserve. He has done enough to warrant selection. And when a player like him, who has a tremendous talent, yes, there are certain flaws, technical flaws, which still need to be ironed out, as Brian Lara had pointed out during this ongoing IPL till it got truncated. But the main point is, here is a talent who's making the effort, and there is a buzz around him, yet he doesn't make it to the squad. That's sad. It's not on. Bhuvi's omission was trending. I saw that on Twitter, and many people were wondering why, but he's constantly hit by injuries. He had another injury in the IPL. He needs to do something about his fitness, because that has cost him quite a bit in his career, and there's not much time left for Bhuvi also, so he should make the best of it. A tremendous talent nonetheless. Hardik Pandya might be a test choice if and when he can bowl and thereby fill the slot of an all-rounder. After his back surgery, his bowling is not the same, so there are worries around that. Last but not the least, side looks good, so do the reserves. Best of luck to Team India, and we'll all wait and watch as the journey unfolds. Thanks for watching AG's Ace.